let's start.
Jorge Ramos.
All right. It is Joe Ramos here. All right, that's a bad Joe Ramos impression.
Let's see here. Send me the link whenever you're ready.
All right, it's now live. Hold on, I just gotta get the link.
Ay, carajo.
All right, let's start the debate.
Where's the link? I need the link.
The link to the bruh.
Michael, you know he's
The link to the YouTube thing so I can post it in the community.
Michael, you know he's not competent enough to do
This balloon is
that.
Shut the fuck up. Thank you.
Oh my god, you people are very vicious. Just shut up for once.
You're paper.
So much venom. Very vicious. Just shut
We're
up.
causing good and unnecessary trouble.
Where if you people did
The
your
audience
job,
has to shut up. The
if
audience
you
has
people
to shut
did your job
up.
right the first time, we
All right, if you keep talking, you will be kicked.
Yes, we will.
That was the rules we agreed to in the first place.
Wait,
Wait, I
you
can't remember.
want to say that out loud again?
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
JP, don't kick anyone unless they talk during the debate. This is pre-debate, just don't kick anyone.
All right, now it's debate time. We have our two vice presidents. Shut the fuck up. Let us talk.
We're starting the debate at 8:30. That's what Michael said.
I'll start the debate whenever I say we're gonna start the debate.
We're literally streaming right now.
It would be great if the people had the link to the fucking vote or the.
I put it up. Shut up. I just put it up.
Thank you for taking care of that today, Michael.
Okay. JP, give me the signal whenever
We're literally live right now.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you for the audience.
2 minutes of
All
bickering.
that bickering. My name is Jorge Ramos. I am the journalist quote unquote journalist, that's going to be moderating this debate. Let's go over the rules very quickly. Each candidate's going to have 1 minute and 30 seconds for statements and responses to the question, and 30 seconds for rebuttals. Let's go right into it. By the flip of a coin, Vice President Terrell McCann goes first. Your opening statement, your time starts now.
Thank you, Senor George Lopez, and I appreciate everybody for being here.
It's actually Jorge Ramos, sir.
Well, you know what? I don't care what your name is, okay? Welcome to the debate. Good to see you. Now do your job. I want to welcome y'all to this here debate here in Dallas, Texas. It's good to be here. I know that we have some people here who are going to listen to this, and you're going to hear two different visions for America. The vision that has been setting us on a straight path for a very long time, for the last 4 years, and will continue to do it over the next 4 years. Or you're going to hear a path where they can't even figure out who their Democratic candidate's going to be. I'm telling you now, folks, in this debate, you're just going to hear two stark differences. What the Republican Party is doing, what the Democratic Party is doing, and how they differ. You're going to notice that. You're going to notice how they differ. And you're going to notice that there's going to be sides that have policies, that have laid out policies, what they know they're going to do, and the other side of which, you know, they'll figure it out when that time comes. So I look forward to having a fruitful discussion. I wish my opponent luck here. Me and him have known each other for a very long time. So I wish him luck, and let the roasting begin.
Well, just to be clear, Mr. Vice President, it is not a roasting session. It is a debate.
Would you like me to roast you?
Ideas.
Would you like me to roast you?
Mr. Vice President, please keep the insults to yourself.
That's not
We will now be going to the
Silencio.
Vice Presidential nominee. Gaming is live. Gaming, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Senor Jorge Ramos. We are here today to do a discussion at De Nada. We are here to do a discussion on the debate between our differences of policies and ideas for this nation to go forward. As you guys know, White, D. Christopher, and Sean Washington were the original nominees, but frankly, they decide to drop out, and I believe me and Troy Hay will do a better job in our envision for this ticket, for the party, for the nation as a whole. I also wish the Vice President, Terrell McCann, good luck in this debate, and I just hope we can continue this discussion in a civil matter if possible. If not, I just hope we get ideas across at the very least.
Okay, we will now be moving forward to our first question of the night. The question is first towards Terrell McCann, and then the same question will be asked to Mr. Gaming. The question of the night is: the United States has historically been a leader in international efforts to solve global problems like climate change, arms control, and infectious diseases. Some express concern that we have in many ways giving up that role. Please give an example of a global science-based issue, such as importance, that you would give it your time and personal capital as Vice President.
You mind,
Mr.
speaking,
McCann.
you mind speaking in an accent that we can understand?
That is the question. If you cannot understand the question, that is not my problem.
Speaking in an accent that we can understand?
That is not my problem, Mr. Vice President. Please answer the question. Your time is precious.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're asking about climate change. Am I right in that regard?
Where did I say climate change in that question, Mr. Vice President?
Well, if you would speak properly and clearly so we could
I am speaking properly and clearly,
No,
Mr.
you're
Vice
not. No,
President.
you're not. No, you're not.
Mr. Vice President, your time is running out.
Well, and I'm reclaiming my time. Thank you.
You're not reclaiming shit.
Well, I'm reclaiming my time, so you can be quiet. So anyway, to basically answer this guy's question, whatever he's asking, you can barely understand what he's asking, but nevertheless, she persisted. So basically, I believe the question is basically global problems and what can you do to solve global problems? One of the global problems, of course, as we know, is climate change. And as we know it right now, as science says, you know what? That if we don't take action...
It is not the only global problem, Mr. Vice President.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Would you let me speak? I'm reclaiming my time.
No.
Thank you. Well, sir, you can be quiet
Sure.
before I knock your head off your shoulders.
No, signora,
this
no.
Is live. This is live. You're only solidifying my base. But anyway, to answer the question before I keep getting rudely interrupted by
Your time has expired, Mr. Vice President. We will now be moving to the Democratic nominee gaining his life for the same question. I will be repeating the question for the Democratic nominee. And the question is, the United States, excuse me, Mr. Vice President, your
Shut
time
up.
has expired. You cannot continue
If you
to
want
speak.
less time, the next question, keep on going.
You cannot continue
I
to
am
speak.
going to keep going. What are you going to do about
No,
it?
you cannot continue to speak, Mr. Vice
I
President.
will kick you out of this call.
Oh, you can kick me out.
Mr.
You're just going to be ensuring and letting people know that you're...
The producer of the Univision producer.
You know, we already have a different live stream person that will do this. You
Mr.
can kick us out if you want to.
Yo, shut up, man.
Mr. Vice President, we really do need to keep moving forward. The same question will be directed to Mr. Gaming His Life. The United States has historically been a leader in international efforts to solve global problems such as climate change, arms control, and infectious diseases. Some express concern that we have in many ways given up that role. Please give an example of a global science-based issue that has such importance that you would give it your time and personal capital as Vice President.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Jorge Ramos, for the question. To answer this question in the most simplest form I can, what I would do is, for one, I would go to forums and have discussions with other world leaders of different nations on what we can do to improve issues such as, let's take energy. I would like to push for more renewable energy inside this nation, but not just inside this nation, but worldwide. China, as you know, is the main leading force for renewable energy, or one of the main leading force. And if a nation such as China really does take over that particular industry, it would not just hurt the environment as a whole because China is controlling everything. It would also hurt Americans. and American jobs, the fact that we are not pushing for this. The future is renewable energy. So one of the things I would do is discuss with other nations and endorse and publicly sponsor corporations in the renewable energy sectors of American companies with American interests in mind to bring their technologies into other nations. And that's just one of many examples in which I would do a bunch of different topics. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Gaming is right, for actually being able to follow the rules of the debate. We'll be moving forward with rebuttals. Would anybody like a rebuttal? You get 30 seconds for the rebuttal. Your 30 seconds start now.
I appreciate it because to really, I got a question for the candidate. First of all, you said discussion with world leaders. Excuse me, you're not going to interrupt me. This is my time. Thank you. You're not on the debate stage.
No, you're not allowed to ask other candidates questions.
Reclaiming my time. Is he going to interrupt me? Are we going to set the standard, moderator Walker or Ramos?
I'm just stating the rules here.
You're interrupting me.
Vice President, your time is running out. Please make your point.
No, I'm reclaiming my time.
All right, reclaim your time, man. Reclaim your time.
Let him ask the question. Let him ask the question.
Time is over. He wasted his time. We will be continuing to the next.
All right. Just let Terrell speak.
We'll be moving on to the next question.
Michael, just let him speak.
No.
We'll be moving on to the next question. This question is directed at Vice President Terrell McCann.
These people don't seem to understand that.
Vice President, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Vice President.
Señor Ramos,
Yes,
por favor.
yes. Sí.
Por favor, deje que hace su pregunta y vamos a seguir con eso, por favor. I don't care what the rules are. Just let him ask the question.
I do care what the rules
I'm
are.
going to ask my question regardless of how he feels. My question, Damien, because I like what you said, though.
You do not have to answer that question,
excuse me,
Mr.
I'm asking you a
Mr.
question. If you don't like it, that's a you problem.
You do not have to answer the question, Mr.
So
Life.
any problem, anyway, Gaming, my question to you is because these people don't seem to understand English.
You still don't seem to understand how long it works.
Excuse me, I understand how this works, and you're interrupting.
No,
me.
you clearly do not. Clearly do not, Vice President.
Gaming, my question is discussions. So what particular countries are you talking about discussing this particular topic with? And, what's the time frame on this? What do you believe will be the time frame that you would need to act on that?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, Mr. Vice President. The nations I would talk to would be nations like the United Kingdom, France, and really the major world powers, even Russia as well. And, Russia and us haven't had the best relationships ever, as well as like nations like Japan and South Korea, really nations that can afford to make the switch immediately. And I think we can do that, at least have them act upon it in a year or two. For the whole world stage to change into renewable energy, I think that would take beyond my vice presidency, your vice presidency. We're talking about something that would happen between decades. But I think we can at least get the initiation and the spark within our vice presidency in the first 1 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we can? Do you think that we can get something done like that within the next, I don't know, say 10 to 15 years at least?
You mean change the entire world, or?
Well, trying to get the United States to transition over. You said 1 to 2 years.
1 to 2 years to get it started. But yes, I think between 10 to 15 years, I do think we'd be able to do so.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that my timing was correct because I heard 1 to 2, and I was like, "Whoa, there."
Okay, we'll be moving on with the next question, Mr. Vice President.
All right, it is Chris Wallace over here.
No, I have a question. I'll give the space to Mr. Chris Wallace.
It's Chris Wallace over
The
here.
The following question pertains to the issue of voter suppression, as Mr. Vice President may already know. The Attorney General of Georgia, John Lampros, has instituted a large number of different. I said Secretary of State, so don't correct me if I said correctly. A large number of measures that are meant they are clearly meant to suppress the vote in the crucial state of Georgia. So the question to you is, if elected, how will you address the rise of voter suppression across this country? You get 1 minute and 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
Excuse me, who was that for? Was that for me or was that for the vice president?
The vice president, and then you get the chance to respond.
I believe that actually goes to gaming first. I went last.
No, it does not. It goes to you, Mr. Vice President.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, I don't.
Are you going to answer the question, or are you going to waste your time like you have throughout the entire debate?
Are you going to interrupt me? I'm not going to answer.
You're going to answer the
You're going to
question.
continue to interrupt me. So let's establish this now. You're not going to interrupt me, and I'm going to answer the question.
Answer
So,
the question, Mr. Vice
Excuse
President.
me, stop interrupting me. I will. Thank you very much. You are so kind tonight. So to basically answer the question, you see what's going on down in Georgia. You know, people call it voter suppression, and people may think it's voter suppression. If you tell me how that's really suppressing the vote, then we can have a conversation on it. But here's what I support. I support making sure that we have fair elections, but making sure that it's safe. First of all, ensuring that people are not committing voter fraud is one of the big issues that we need to focus on, because I will tell you this, with my opponent here, his running mate has supported things such as no voter IDs. Okay, he supported that in the past. That's on the record. And so in stark contrast, here's what we need to do. We're going to make sure that we have voter ID laws to make sure that people are not voting fraudulently, that they are not committing a felony, to make sure that it is fair. We're going to make sure that people who are not registered are properly registered. If you're not from here, get the pathway to citizenship to be able to vote. Now, the Democratic Party stance, what they took last time was, well, we're going to make sure that everybody is able to vote no matter what. And that's a problem in our eyes. And we live in a country where, of course, it's the country where people have the right to vote, but you have to vote correctly. You have to follow the process correctly, because if you don't, you will not be able to vote. So,
Mr. Vice President, your time has expired. Your time has expired. And just for the record, Mr. Vice President, your time has expired. You're done. Just for the record, do you believe that instituting a law such as the one that Mr. Lampros has put in place in Georgia, that has voter ID laws that cost up to $500 to $1,000, is necessary?
Well, that's negotiable. I mean, I don't think it should be that high.
Do you support it, yes or no? Do you support that policy, yes or no?
I'm not going to say that I necessarily support it, but what I am going to
You're
say
going to
is that
duck the
price
question.
can be negotiated.
Mr. Life, you may answer the same question. You may answer the same question. I'm going to repeat it for you. If elected, how will you address the rise of voter suppression across this country? The floor is yours.
I'm sorry, my grandma was talking to me. Anyways, when I was the mayor of New York, I actually put in place the policy of voting ID. I actually agree with the vice president into having a fair legal system between voting for into our elections. So what I will say is that, are we talking about particularly that form, just for clarification, of quote unquote voter suppression, or are we talking about in the form of which I heard the John Lampros say, Secretary of National Guard? Moderators.
Yes, are you done?
And I was asking if what you guys meant in terms of voter suppression was the Secretary of State comments
The
on.
question of voter suppression was pertaining to a set of rules that were put in place by Secretary of State from the state of Georgia, John Lampros.
But in those rules, it was just for clarification, the voter ID laws, correct?
No, the voter ID laws that cost from $500 to $1,000.
Okay.
A ban on felons to vote, and military national the presence of National Guardsmen in the polls.
Okay, so for one, I don't agree with how much the voter ID cost. But I do agree that when we do vote, we should have a voter ID just to make sure you say who you say is and you really are safely registered. When it comes to the National Guard, I don't agree that the National Guard should be there. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we are in an election crisis as of right now. And that's just my honest opinion. When it comes to felons is banned on voting, I disagree with that. I feel like once you're a citizen, you should be a citizen and you should be able to vote. However, I don't think felons that are still in prison should be able to vote. If you're in prison, your rights are taken away. Afterwards, once you're a free man again, you should be able to vote. That's my position in all of that.
All right, it is Chris Wallace here.
I'd like a rebuttal before the
You
moderator.
get 30 seconds for the rebuttal, and then we're moving on to the next question. Your 30 seconds begin now.
So it's just more so a clarification statement, just to make sure that we're putting it out there.
Make a statement because the clock is ticking.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. God. Anyway, so just to make a point of clarification too, that states' rights exist, and we have to be able. While you may not support what they're doing, they do have states' rights. And that's one thing that cannot and should not be infringed upon. And we need to make sure that states have their rights, and if however that state chooses to do it, they're able to do that the way they want to do it, no matter if we agree or disagree with it.
Okay, Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, I'm asking. I'm going to ask a question now. Hello, it is Chris Wallace, and I will be asking a question for Mr. Life. Mr. Life, in your city, you have defunded the police. However, crime has gone up in your city at the same time.
Incorrect.
Yes, it is.
No,
correct.
I did not defund the police.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. You guys love putting me as de Blasio. I'm not de Blasio. I did not defund police.
So all right, let's just say, does any of you support defunding the police, or what reforms need to be made in the police system? Both of you. Starting with, I believe, gaming.
Okay, I got no problem answering that question. I think what we need in terms of when it comes to police force and how we can really reform it is by doing these that is very much necessary when it's come to education, not just within the police, but within children and minorities and non-minorities as well. So let's look at the police. What can the police do to change? We need a police to community relationship. And until we really establish that, we're going to see more cases of violent crime happening in the city. People don't trust the police in my city. In New York City. I moved to New Jersey. I no longer live there. But during my time as mayor, crime was going down. It's been going down since Giuliani has entered office, and right now the city is continuing on that streak. And I think to a higher confidence in the police. But until we have that confidence at 100, it won't happen. I also think we need to teach our children into having confidence and trust inside the police, because the police are here to protect us, not to be against us. And really, until we do that, we're not going to see the proper reform. I think this reform has to be done societally more than just legally.
All right. Vice President McCann.
First of all, gaming. I want to make sure that we get it clear for the record. Did you say that are you in favor of supporting defunding the police, or no? I just wanted to make sure.
I don't want to defund.
Okay, so me and the mayor here agree that we should not be defunding our police. First of all, you're going to see slower response times, and especially neighborhoods of color, and in many other places where there is high crime. So if you defund police, one, you're going to see slower response time, slower than what they already are. Number two, you're going to have to cut back on the amount of police officers that you have, because if you defund them, you're not going to have the necessary resources to be able to pay those police officers. So people are going to start leaving the force because they're not being paid enough. Number three, what you're going to see is you're really going to see police officers not having necessary equipment, not having the up-to-date equipment to be able to ensure that people are being protected in the neighborhoods. So any type of defunding the police, I really disagree with. We need to be ensuring that our police are funded, that they have the necessary equipment, that they have the necessary squad cars, that they have the up-to-date equipment that they need to make sure that they are protecting and serving and upholding the law, and making sure that we are actually keeping law and order in our country.
All right. Next question. Let's go to. Oh, damn it! I lost it. All right, Michael Walker. I mean, excuse me. Yor Ramos.
Yes. I will continue with the questions. This question is directed towards Vice President McCann. A racially motivated gun massacre in El Paso in August of this year has accelerated efforts by some lawmakers and political candidates to address white nationalist terrorism. The shooting occurred during a 5-year spike in reported hate crimes in the United States, a period that was also marked by horrific attacks in Charleston, South Carolina. In addition to this, many of your supporters and the president's supporters have been chanting very racially motivated slurs, particularly towards Hispanics. So today I am asking you, Mr. Vice President, how will you address white nationalism and the resurgence of hate crimes in the United States? And do you commit right here, right now, to disavow the chants being heard in many of your events and many of your supporters' events? Do you disavow the "shoot 'em dead" slogan that your campaign has perpetuated?
Well, first of all, I like to say, I mean, that statement never came from neither the president or myself. We've never said.
But your supporters are chanting it in events that support your candidacy.
Excuse me, freedom of speech. They have the First Amendment right. Whether I condone it or not, which I don't, they have the freedom of speech. And what they choose
The
to
question
do
is not on the issue of freedom of speech, it's on the issue of do you disavow them?
I'm answering the question. What I am saying is I do not condone what they are saying. However, that statement did not come from neither myself nor the president. What a person
So you disavow their comments.
what I am saying is if they choose to use their First Amendment right, they can. I'm not going to sit here and say that they can't say that. But what I'm simply going to say is we don't publicly endorse that nor condone that. But however, they do have the right of First Amendment, and that will not be
Vice President, I'm going to ask the question again. Do you
answer the
disavow?
question about white nationalism. First of all, we know that white nationalism does exist. We understand, me as a person of color, I understand that there are, in a way, we're still living during the time of segregation. I've whether you notice it or not, that type of segregation is still there. We still have people who are going out and killing innocent Black people because they're simply Black. So as, Vice President of the United States and being an African American myself, I understand that we need to be able to get out there and to have discussions, to be able to understand that we are living in a diverse world where there are many different races, and we have to learn to embrace one another. That's the one thing that we have to learn how to do. I believe that, many, especially older white people, have not learned to embrace people of different colors. So to me, when it comes to white nationalism, okay then, thank you. When it comes to that particular issue, I mean, we have to take it on. We have to take it on really.
Mr. Vice President, your term has expired. So you say on the one hand that we need to come together, but on the other hand, you do not disavow their comments. Just as a point of clarification.
Well, you mind restating that, please? I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll be going, the same question is directed to,
I asked you to repeat that to make sure that I was hearing that correctly. Can you restate that? Because you had a point of clarification.
yes, so just to be clear, you said that we need to come together as Americans, but at the same time, you do not disavow the chant "shoot them dead," referring to illegal immigrants coming across the border that has been chanted in many of the events being hosted on behalf of the president.
Well,
Just to be clear.
And what I'll say it, and I'll say it again, Jorge, just to make sure that you and the liberal media can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, is that we as a Martinez campaign, the president and myself, do not condone these words. We do not.
You're not
condone
answering the
phrase.
question. You disavow the response. Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
I'm going to say it again.
It is a yes or no question. We're going to move on.
We condemn it. And at the end of the day, they have the freedom of speech. And if you don't like it, then go to a different country.
We're going to move on.
Your free speech.
You're clearly ducking the question.
Well, I mean,
All right,
the
gaming.
The same
All
question
right,
will be directed
let's go with
towards,
you.
Mr. Gaming is Life. How will you address white nationalism with the resurgence of hate crimes in the United States? The floor is yours.
Yeah, so to be clear, and this is the first thing, and I want to make this clear as well. Terrorism is terrorism no matter if it's racially motivated or not. If you do a terrorist thing inside this nation, you should be stopped. If you are a group of white men and you are shooting Hispanics, blacks, or even other white people for any basis besides self-defense, frankly, you should be arrested and you should be facing our judicial system in the courts. While saying that, I will say the following thing regarding the resurgence of white nationalists. The only way we can stop that is, again, through education. That's the way to do it. It's through educating people, because at the end of the day, people who believe in white nationalistic means, if they do it in a non-violent way, they still have the right to do so. And that's just the truth. With freedom of speech is a good thing, but with that good thing, that also means certain bad people have a voice to speak upon. And what we need to do is just educate people, hey, this is wrong, without infringing between their rights of free speech. As for certain high members of this nation, politically speaking, saying such things as shoot them across the border, that's not acceptable. They shouldn't say it, but they could say it. Realizing they could, but they shouldn't, I think is a big difference. I do condone with themselves. If elected vice president, I wouldn't do any legal thing to stop them. All I would do is disagree with them, have discussion with them, and try to convince them why it's wrong.
All right, we will be going on to a follow-up question.
Because, and I agree with my opponent here. Gaming, I want to show you something what the liberal media is doing. What they're saying is you basically have given the same answer as me, that you don't condone it. But the difference is, because it's not your campaign and because people aren't saying it at your rallies, they're not really going to press the issue on you.
Well, because it is your supporters, Mr. Vice President.
Yes.
But anyway, I agree with the mayor on this, that we don't condone it, and I've been saying that from the beginning. And again, if the liberal media chooses not to accept that answer, well, you can go to a different country.
You keep dodging the question. You haven't answered the
I'm not
question.
dodging the question. I answered the question, and you can't seem to get it.
Your time for rebuttal has ended, Mr. Vice President. Your time for rebuttal has ended, Mr.
All right,
Vice President.
all right. Now on to our follow-up. However, you say you condone this behavior and it has nothing to do with your campaign, Mr. Vice President. However,
I never
these
said that.
these people.
I never said that. See, and this is the thing with you.
You literally said you don't condone this, and
Right,
they
I said-
and they don't.
I never said.
And your campaign has
I
nothing
said,
to do with
I
it.
want to get the record clear, because you're going to say something and then swear up and down that you didn't say it. What I said was, just to make the record clear, because I don't know if your brain is comprehending or not, what I said was myself nor the president do not endorse what they are saying at the rallies. However, they have freedom of speech. That's what
All
I
right,
said.
then.
And I'm clearing that for the record before you go forward and ask a question, taking
All right. Yes. So the question is, you specifically selected them to speak at the RNC, even though you're trying to disavow them. Now, keep in mind, you can control who speaks at the RNC. You're basically giving them a platform at the RNC. So, why did you think giving people like John Bolsonaro a platform was a good idea?
I'm sorry, I don't know if your eyes were working back during the Republican National Convention. That individual did not speak at the convention. Here you go again, you and the liberal media.
He did.
You spending the where? I want to see the record. I want to see, because I was actually chairing that convention, and nowhere during that convention did that individual speak. So
Yes.
what I'm doing is, and you're getting upset because I'm calling you out on your.
No. That individual did speak.
Where's the record? And you're
Look at the RNC. That individual most certainly did speak.
Well,
If you want me to pull up the RNC, we could do that right now.
This is again. This is what the fake news media will do to you.
No. This
And
isn't
second
fake
of all,
news. I'm gonna.
Excuse me. You're fake news. You're fake news. You're a biased moderator, and we know it. But to answer the biased moderator's question, I'm going to talk about this once again because he can't seem to get it through his thick skull. The simple fact is, if they wish to speak at our convention, they were able to speak. They had the First Amendment right to speak.
See, now we've moved
But-
from that person did not speak at the convention.
Yeah. Now you're saying. Yeah. Not.
Again, what I'm saying is, no matter who was chosen to speak at the
Mr. Vice
convention,
President, we can move the goalpost all day long. We're going to
Yes.
move on.
they were able to speak.
The next question, Mr. Vice President, we can move the goalpost all we want. We can move the goalpost all day long. We're going to move on.
Yeah. All right, gaming. Your response.
The question, excuse me. This question is directed towards gaming is life. Many who remain in agencies like the CDC, EPA, NOAA, USGS, and NIH feel that the integrity of their science is being undermined. This is a real concern for the U.S. If the U.S. seeks to maintain international scientific leadership and to attract the best and brightest students. The question is, a large number of highly specialized scientists have left the federal government, taking their knowledge and skills with them. What would you do to bring them back to attract qualified replacements?
What I would do is reinstate either similar or same agencies or science that is needed inside this nation as a whole. Would I say every single one of those nations and science, every single one of those organizations will come back? I don't know. I think that's something that me and the president will have to discuss. What I will say is that I am personally a man of science. I believe that science is very much important, not only for an integrity of the nation, but really understanding and knowledge of the world. Without sciences, many of our technologies that the government uses will not be able to exist. So I'm a man who will fight for science to be more involved inside our government. Why saying that? I think everything should be looked at a case-by-case basis and how much needed it really is.
Okay, thank you very much. The same question will be directed towards the Vice President. To repeat the question, many who remain in agencies like the CDC, the EPA, NOAA, USGS, and NIH feel that their integrity of their science is being undermined. This is the U.S. seeks to maintain international scientific leadership and to attract the best and brightest students. A large number of highly specialized scientists have left the federal government, taking their knowledge and skills with them. What would you you do to prep or attract qualified replacements?
Well, first of all, I like to say that I'm proud of the many science experts that we have in the United States right now. We have some people who are working in the Department of Health and Human Services who are absolutely doing a great job. The problem is what they're seeing is that people are not taking the science seriously. People are not holding science in the highest regard that it needs to be held. And first of all, science is important to our way of life. A lot of things we do every day involve science. So when it comes to getting some of the best and brightest individuals, and you said, and just to make sure that you said that some of them have left the federal government, that's either, well, they've decided to go into retirement or they went on to do something else. But the real thing is to ensure that we are having conversations with them, that we're ensuring that, look, we are listening to you because you are some of our brightest people that we have to help lead us forward. And I think that's one of the most important things that we need to do. And we need to continue to fund some of our agencies who contribute a great deal to ensuring that there are make sure that we have really no major health crises, to ensuring that we have the necessary technology and the necessary research and necessary funding to conduct that necessary research and that technology, acquire that technology. And that's going to involve
Mr. Vice President, please
our
join.
conversation. And I like to ask for the record, what's the time limit that we're getting on these
1 minute.
Because I don't think it's 2 minutes.
1 minute and 30 seconds. If you were listening, you would have known this
Gaming,
by now.
would you mind not saying this title marks? We're in America. But I just like to say, gaming, would you be fine pushing it to 2 minutes?
It will not be pushed to 2 minutes, even if he agrees to it.
If the candidates agree, it will be.
No.
No, it will not. We're going to move on. We'll move on. The next question is: many proposals have argued that rebuilding our economy offers a historic opportunity to make us safer from the ongoing and future risks of climate disruption. These risks are real. They are already significantly affecting our homes, our lives, and our livelihoods, and our health. The question directed at Vice President McCann. We are now rebuilding the United States economy in the wake of climate change. Less vulnerable to climate change going forward. Will you continue right here, Val, that you will continue efforts? And how?
Well, I believe that question goes to the mayor first, because if you notice.
No, that goes to the Vice President. The last question went to the mayor first.
Well, in the past few questions, I've been going first every time, so I believe it's the mayor's turn. So I'm going to give the mayor the chance to go first.
Mr. Vice President, are you going to answer the question? The time is ticking.
I'm going to let the mayor answer the question.
The time is ticking.
Well, time is just going to tick because it's going towards the mayor.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to answer the question? Since the Vice President refuses to answer the question.
It's not a refusal. I'll get back to the question.
You're refusing to answer the question. Mr. Mayor, would you like to answer the question?
And by the way, we speak American in this country, so you might speak American.
Would you like to answer the question, Mr. Mayor?
So can you repeat the question one more time? Because I apologize.
Yes. Many proposals have argued that rebuilding our economy offers a historic opportunity to make us safer from ongoing and future risks of climate disruption. These risks are real. They are already significantly affecting our homes, our lives, and our livelihoods and our health. The question is, we're now rebuilding the United States economy to be better prepared for climate change. Is this opportunity to make our infrastructure and society less vulnerable to climate change going to be part of your administration? And if so, what measures in particular would you pursue to get going on this path?
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Ramos, for the question. Look, I think when it comes to the infrastructure, we need to rebuild it rather or if the climate change exists how it exists now. And I definitely do think we need to make our infrastructure more green. And I think the way of doing it is talking with states and cities into doing such action. Because at the end of the day, as a national government, we don't own every single road, every single block inside this nation. A large part of the infrastructures are controlled by the state. Such we should discuss with them of energies, and I'll be all for it. With someone that planned out a plan of changing all the cities, city government infrastructure into a more renewable and green way.
Okay, thank you.